So in this video we're going to try and create an expression for the nth term in these linear sequences. So I've got these three sequence of numbers which are linear, and we're going to try and find a term to say what the nth term is. Now if we jump straight to question 1, first thing we need to do is try and find the gap between each of the terms. Now 2 to 5.5, 5.5 minus 2 is 3.5. So the difference is positive 3.5. So that's our first goal, to find the difference. And the difference is plus 3.5. Now, as we're finding a sequence, we need this in terms of n. So our next thing is to find our nth. So therefore, what we write here is n. So 3.5 times n. And then our last part of our job is to find. So finding the zeroth term, if I just write this one here as that's our first, this one would be our second, this one here would be our zeroth, whatever number we can plug in there. Well, if they're increasing 3.5 each time we go this way, going backwards we need to subtract 3.5. So 2 minus 3.5, that's minus 1.5. So here I would have minus 1.5. So therefore here I now add my zeroth term, which is minus 1.5. Now the way to write this would be not to write it like this. Our final answer would be a way of writing 3.5 times n. Well, we can write that as 7n over 2. So that would be a way of writing that. And then subtract 1.5. So it's subtracting 1.5 in this format, we subtract 3 over 2. So that would be a way of finding our nth term, and that's the expression for this sequence here. Okay, now what about this one? So first of all, let's find the difference. 4 to 4.4 is 0.4. Add 0.4 again, we get to this one, and to this one, and then to this one. So our difference is 0.4. And then our next goal is to put it as the n, so 0.4n. And then now what we're going to do is find the zeroth term. So this is first, this is the second, so this one here would be the zeroth. So if they're going up by 0.4, going this way, they're going to be subtracting 0.4. So 4 minus 0.4 will be 3.6. So all we do now is add on the zeroth term. So add 3.6. So an expression for this we could write as 0.4n plus 3.6. And that would be a suitable expression for this sequence here. Now what about this one? So we've got a fractions again. So 1/4 to 1, that's 3/4. 1 to 1 3/4 is 3/4. And the same gap for all these. So that's our first job taken care of, to find the difference. So the difference is 3/4. And then as we want it as the nth, we just write 3/4 times n. So I'll just write that like that for now. And then the last part is to find the zeroth term. So this is the first and the second. So this one here would be the zeroth, whatever we can put in there. As they're increasing by 3/4, to go this way we need to subtract 3/4. So 1/4 minus 3/4, that's going to be minus 1/2. So then all we do now is add on our zeroth term at the end, which would be minus 1/2. And then all we do now, just to write this in terminology very similar to this one, we can write this as 3n over 4 minus 1/2. And that will be an expression for this sequence here. Okay.